Welcome to another episode of Not a Boring Real Estate Podcast, where we educate the masses in a not-so-boring way, just how you like it. Here's your hosts, Ryan Domis and Diego Vasquez.
Wayne's World, party time, excellent. Welcome to another episode of Not a Boring Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Diego Vasquez.
And I'm Ryan Domis.
And this is our Halloween episode.
That's right. And if you haven't familiarized yourself with Wayne's World, we hope we inspire you because we are big fans of that movie. We love that skit on SNL. And here we are. It's party time. We're feeling excellent. Let's rock and roll, brother.
Yeah, chat.
Yeah.
So we brought this energy here today because, I mean, dude, it's Halloween's coming up. We wanted to make sure it's a special episode. We got a giveaway coming up that we're going to be announcing later. But for now, we have some stuff that we just got to get off our chest. Ryan, what do you got to get off your chest?
Well, buyers' commissions are in trouble. They are in trouble. They are in trouble. As you've heard probably, I would think by now, that we got an issue on our hands, folks. Redfin threw in the towel and said, you know what? We don't want to deal with NAR anymore. We got Remax, who threw in the towel, settled a $55 million lawsuit, said, you know what? Maybe it's okay if we don't charge a buyer's commission anymore. We got some problems, folks, and it's in our neck of the woods, so we got to figure out a way to take care of it. All right, folks, obviously you can see if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, we just took the wigs off. I took the flannel off. We were cooking under these lights, man.
Dude, I'm already a couple beers deep in a drink, so I was cooking. It was a hard cut.
Our boy Diego just got tatted today.
Oh, yeah. I got a literally double booked, good friend of mine. If you ever check them out, Grayscale Tattoo. Check them out. They're in Anaheim, and he's like, hey, man, I double booked. You want to come through? I was like, okay, why not? So I got tattooed, and now I'm here.
You got the big A, right, for the Angel Stadium on your leg? Is that what you did?
Yeah, I got the big A. I also, if you're into Dragon Ball, I got Dragon Ball tattoo, so that's a whole other thing. Maybe you'll see a picture, maybe you won't.
All right, man.
Now, we are recording today. Today is October 12th. I don't even know what day it is. So,
yeah, dude, October 12th.
Today's October 12th. This is just to help our clients know, or our people, our viewers know when the heck we recorded this because, you know, sometimes it takes us 3 months to get the episodes out.
Yeah, not anymore, though. We've got a better schedule. We got a better rhythm going on. We don't want you to have to wait until December to watch a Halloween episode. You definitely won't have to. But as we were just talking about with this whole thing with buyer commissions, so as you heard, we got an issue here. For them to say that we no longer have to pay a buyer's commission is a big problem. Because number one, you do not want people walking through your house unsupervised.
Oh, wait, who's deciding this?
Who's deciding it? I would say people that are the powers that be. Redfin was a big proponent of iBuying, which died November 9th, 2022 is when Redfin threw in the towel on their own iBuyer program, and they tried to cut their own agents out of commission, and that's dumb. That's dumb.
So what's iBuying? I mean, what are we talking about?
iBuying is like when you go to the internet, you click here, you click there, you sign up for a showing, and somebody, probably the listing agent, lets you through the door. That doesn't involve a buyer's agent at all, and that just cuts out the buyer's agent totally. Now, Zillow, Open Door, I mean, all these big powers that be, they always want to get rid of the lockbox. They want to get rid of what keeps the piece of the pie missing from them, which is this commission, this buyer's commission. They go, I want some more of that piece of the pizza pie over there. And they don't like the fact that we have to show them the house. Now, Redfin said it's because of NAR having a sexual harassment lawsuit. What kind of Fortune 500 company, what kind of association doesn't have a little grab ass going on in the back of the office? I mean, first of all, you can't really label that as like the reason, because then we'd be boycotting everybody.
And these are just, we don't, we don't back that, but these are just they're allegations.
They're allegations. We got a settlement going on because Redfin said, you play a little grab ass in the office and you didn't listen to our complaints, and we just don't think you're actually doing it. Now, we talked about why does NAR even exist, right?
Yeah.
NAR is an association that basically protects us from the powers that be. There's nobody in Washington, D.C. protecting our commission other than NAR and the real estate PAC that uproots from NAR.
Well, let's break it down for the average buyer, right? So, like, we're talking about buyer's commissions. They're like, I'm not getting a commission. No, the buyer's agent that is there to protect you. They are there to show you houses. And, don't get me wrong, Zillow, ever since Zillow was created, you don't expect your agent to really find the house for you, right? Zillow, that thankfully, it has helped buyers, first-time home buyers, whoever, to find their house honestly before their buyer's agent does.
Yes.
Right. However, your agent is there to protect you. They are there to show you the ropes. They're there to make sure that nobody takes off with your earnest money deposit. Mm-hmm. They're there to make sure that you get a house that you can actually live in that's not a lemon. Mm-hmm. So that's why we need to protect buyers' agents, because they are there to protect you, the consumer. As if it's not hard enough to buy a home already.
Yeah.
Right? They're saying the seller, which, again, let's break this down. So you are a listing agent, Ryan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As a listing agent, what happens when a home gets sold, and how does a buyer's agent get paid out?
And well, first it starts with the listing contract that says this commission is mine in the state of California. And then at the bottom end of that page, it says, but if the best offer comes from a buyer's agent who's representing another buyer, I have the power to share my commission. And it's all documented on the CAR, California Association of Real Estate forms. It's all there. Some states were not very upfront about it, which caused this whole problem in the first place. Thanks, East Coast, for not really getting your documents correct.
That's what happens when you get attorneys involved in real estate, but that's different.
So, yeah, that's true.
So everything is spelled out. You share your commission with the buyer's agent. Why would you share your commission with the buyer's agent?
You know why? Because they want to make sure that they're holding their buyer accountable. Nobody wants to make sure they're filling out or reading the paperwork for free. You want to show up to an inspection at 11 a.m. on a Sunday morning when your favorite football team's playing for free? No way, dude. No, you want to get paid for that, and you're getting paid to keep people accountable. And we all know the honesty of FSBO, for sale by owning, does not get you the same amount of money as being represented by an agent who's going to market your property the right way. And buyers want to go see houses, and agents want to get paid for that. And that's how the agency, this is how the whole association, this is how the whole thing works. You show houses, you get paid for it. Redfin, other people throwing in the towel. Zillow, Open Door, Redfin would be more than happy to say, you know what, why don't you just let the buyer through the door? We don't need a buyer's agent to show them the house. Yeah, he might just blow up the bathroom for 20 minutes, but,
Yeah, right. So what you're saying is the person selling the house,
yes,
when you, the listing agent, talks to them, you say, hey, so when I'm selling your house, there's going to be a ton of different types of buyers. Mm-hmm. There's your investor, the cash buyer, there's your average family. There's a lot of different people that we want to get to come see your house in order for you to get the most amount of money possible.
Yes.
Now, how are we going to do that? Now, don't get me wrong. As your listing agent, I am going to do my best to find the buyer myself so you can save some money. However, there are two sides of the transaction. There is the listing side and the buying side. Now, as a listing agent, my fiduciary responsibility is to protect you, to get you the most amount of money possible, and to avoid any hiccups or where they're like trying to haggle you to pay you less for the property. Again, I want to get you as much money as possible.
As much money as possible. That's what that contract is all about, is that you're going to do your duty to make them the most amount of money and keep their best interest at heart.
And the buyer's agent their job is to do the same for their buyer.
Absolutely.
So what if I handle both the buyer and the seller? What happens then?
Well, I'll tell you, in the state of California, you can't. Some states you can't.
Okay.
That's what we call double lending, folks, is that you represent both of them. But that's where it gets tough. That's where it's good to be on a team, because one person can be the best interest at heart for the seller. The other one's representing the buyer.
Okay.
Kind of making commissions together. But it's not very easy. And what you have to do is just kind of have full transparency.
Ryan, what you're saying is on the listing side, my job is to protect the seller. On the buying side, the buyer's agent, Their job is to protect their buyers. So if I am doing 2 jobs, that would warrant me getting 2 commissions, right?
That's right. And in most states, you can't do that. You can't double end. But in California, you can. And the best way to go about representing buyer and seller is full transparency. You tell the buyer, look, I have to be honest with the seller about your intentions. So don't, if you want to buy this house, you got to be honest with me on top of everything, because the seller's going to trust me. And if this goes south because of something that you didn't disclose, that means I didn't disclose it either, and I'm not representing my seller the best way. So we got to make sure that our ducks in a row,
right?
Or else we're in big trouble with the seller. Because if it falls out with your own buyer, that seller can be like, hey, you know what? I'm out.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, again, that's why we push where it's important for a buyer to have a buyer's agent, especially first-time home buyers. No one taught you what to do.
No.
You've never done this before. This is the single most important financial investment that you've ever made. It is important for the person representing you to get paid, and you should not have to pay this person out of your own pocket, because it's hard enough as it is. I mean, you're coming up with 5, 10, 20% to buy a home. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're not talking about a couple $100. This is thousands of dollars of like everything you've saved. The interest rates are high, prices are high, and I'm going to go as a buyer's agent, hey, look, thanks for, working with me. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to need 2% of 500,000, which we talked about in our reel. That's 10 grand. You just came up with $60,000-$70,000. You have to pay 10 grand. Like you might second guess buying a house.
I would think so. Yeah, I would think so, big time. And here's an example. If you take away the buyer agent in this scenario, you be the seller, and you just let Joe Bag of Donuts off the street, like into your house. Like Joe Bag of Donuts calls you up and says he wants to see the house, and you open the door for me, and I'm just like, hey there.
Yeah. Well, first off, who wants this to happen? Zillow.
Yeah, Zillow wants it to happen.
Redfin wants this to happen.
Yeah.
Open door. Literally, their name is Open Door. They want you to open your door to complete strangers.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly like, hey, just let in Joe Bag of Donuts. So I'm like, hey, seller.
I want to buy a house.
I want to buy a house. Can you just let me, hey, hold on, before you give me a tour, can I go use the bathroom?
I really need to use the bathroom.
I got to use the bathroom. We're going to be about 20 minutes in there.
and then they walk out.
They walk out, and you're like, can you buy this house? Can you actually afford this house?
Right, which is what realtors already have to go through. When we are screening buyers, we need to make sure these buyers qualify for a house before taking them to your house, the seller. So, that's my job. Out of 20 people that want to buy a house that contact me, there's maybe 4 that actually qualify to buy the houses I need to show them. Exactly. So think about what an agent goes through. They deserve their paycheck. They deserve to represent you. You need them to represent you. And as a seller, you want to make sure the people coming in your house are they have some sort of liability.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, bro, if you're showing a buyer houses for 3 months in a row and you're striking out and you finally get into escrow, homie, you deserve a paycheck.
Oh, yeah.
You deserve a paycheck. And anybody who's lobbying in D.C., and I will say, if in the shortest answer I could give you for why NAR is so important, why the real estate PAC is so important, because they protect our commission from the powers that be. The powers that be Wall Street would love to cut us out and keep a bigger piece of the pie somewhere.
So here we go. There's another question. So NAR, the National Association of Realtors, we have to pay them thousands of dollars a year to protect us.
Yes.
However, it sounds like they're doing a terrible job.
They are. They're doing a terrible job.
And other brokerages, it sounds like they are cutting ties with NAR, the National Association of Realtors, who are there to lobby for us against those powers. So if everyone cuts ties with them, what's going to happen, dude?
Well, let me tell you, there will always be that jerk on the street agent who's going to try to charge you at the lowest commission possible.
So, dude, what happens if we no longer have anybody to back us up like NAR?
If we don't have an association to back us up, are you going to take a midnight flight to Washington, D.C. to go buy some tomahawk steaks and some hookers for people in D.C. to get them on our side? No, that's what lobbyists do. They buy you steak and they take you to strip clubs. That's what they basically
That's why we
do.
pay their salaries of God knows how many millions of dollars these guys make.
If you don't, I mean, come on, you've seen the shows on TV and Netflix. You know how it works in Washington. It's cash or something else.
I was like, where's he going with this? So, okay, so again, if there's nobody there to protect us, all hell breaks loose.
We lose our ability to get commissions. So we're going to lose our commissions. The commissions go away. All of a sudden, you're getting paid minimum wage to open up a door.
Yeah, and then again, just any random person can come through your door that hasn't been pre-qualified.
Yeah, he's just going to go use your bathroom.
Yeah, because you know how many, like literally Zillow is infamous for this.
Yeah.
Zillow is infamous for their leads calling you saying, yeah, I want to buy $1 million house or $15 million house, $100 million house, and they have zero proof of income.
Nothing.
So, like, how many realtors pay thousands and thousands of dollars to get that phone call and then double check and see if this person could even qualify to buy a $300,000 house, and they don't?
Yeah, it could be a homeless guy using the restroom, or it could be one of those influencers who just wants to do a TikTok dance in your kitchen.
Yeah, and thanks Zillow, and thanks this a minimum wage paid agent. And that's it. And they're thankful for the opportunity, the agent, and this person just came and used your place, or who knows what's going to happen if you don't have an agent there to just protect your property.
Yep. And let's just pretend that this has all happened, and now buyer's commissions are going away. Diego, if you're the seller or you're the agent trying to push the seller into paying for a buyer's commission, why would you even pay for it?
Well, they'd be like, why? So, Diego, why would I pay for the buyer's agent's commission? I'm already paying you thousands of dollars to sell my house, which I don't want to do either. But again, you have to understand the agent is there for a purpose. They're there to protect you because you think it's easy. There are liens that could be on your property. You could say the wrong thing to the wrong person, and they will literally sell you for all the profit that you made off of your house because you promised them something, and it could all be hearsay, and now you're in court for no reason spending money on an attorney that it all came from the sale of your house when all you needed to do was get an attorney and fill out the correct forms so that everything is on paper and not a he said, she said. But again, you didn't want to hire an agent. So now you have a listing agent, and now I'm talking to you and I'm saying, hey, I would recommend that you pay me this much, and I'm going to split it, assuming I find the buyer, and the buyer's agent really deserves this. They're going to say, why? I'll say, well, listen, what my job is to do is to get as many buyers, potential buyers, in this property as possible. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to have open houses. I'm going to go all across social media and try to find a buyer for you. And in that case, hey, I'll tell you what, I will lower the commission. I won't drop it like by half because, again, now I need to do twice the work. So put yourself in their shoes. If you're buying a house and you have an agent and this agent is there to protect them, make sure everything's going well, make sure that the paperwork is done correctly, don't you think they deserve to get paid?
I think so. That's a lot of work.
And
that's a lot of sleepless nights trying to close that escrow.
Ryan, why doesn't the buyer pay the buyer's agent?
That would be kind of cool, but they don't want to because they're spending all that money on the house.
They would if they could.
They would if they could. I think that's a good point, right? If the buyers was like, "Hey, is this how it works? I pay you, okay, but that $10,000 that could go to a pretty nice furniture set."
And at this point, they're already going $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 above asking. Mm-hmm. Rates are at 8%. Like, it's hard enough as it is. Don't make it harder on the buyer side because now what's going to happen? The the prices on the homes are going to start going down.
They're going to go way down. And we're already got an inventory shortage right now. We don't need prices to free fall.
Yeah.
And people think that'll actually fix things. Trust me, it won't. For prices to free fall, we got other problems, folks. That means we got employment problems. We got the bond market is completely, it's on life support. I don't even know about bonds. We know that it affects interest rates somehow. I don't know much about bonds. You might know something about bonds. Our handsome producer, Joaquin, might know something about bonds.
Speaking of bonds, we have just the guy.
Yeah.
So you guys, we have a really special treat for you guys. He is the first person that's going to come on this show for the second time.
Is this a bail bonds guy in case they find the hooker in the back of my trunk?
Different kinds of bonds.
Okay.
And he is one of our favorite loan officers in the world.
Oh.
Ted Learakos, we're going to bring him on for you.
Oh, God, we're going to have Ted back.
Yeah.
For y'all, remember, what was the episode number 3?
Yeah.
It was such a favorite. He brought the briefcase full of old phones and the pager and everything.
all the awesome stories from the 80s with his mullet.
Oh, that was awesome. And Johnny Money. All right, folks, we're back with our good friend Ted Learakos of United American Mortgage. It's good to see you again, buddy.
It's good to be seen at my age.
So you were just telling us a story about what happened in Athens, Greece?
Well, you know, the story started with your question about, how many agents do you reach out to with your social media? And it's like, well, 3,800 worldwide.
Wow.
So I'm on a vacation in Athens, and I go in because of course, I want a write-off. So I want a photo op with a bunch of Keller Williams realtors in Athens, and I'm sitting there, just shooting
And it's
shit.
for tax purposes, of
Well,
course.
Of course it
Oh,
is.
yeah.
Yeah. Probably won't work now because you have
It's
so
all
many
hearsay.
people
This is
subscribing.
hearsay.
Yes, hearsay. Yeah. So anyway, the point is I'm listening to these guys. They're talking about the market and the rates, which is always interesting because we have 30-year fixed rates here. They don't have 30-year fixed. Everything's 5 years. So these people walk into the conference room, and I hear this guy in this New York accent say, "Hey, I want to buy a property in Athens. I'm Greek American, and I don't really want to finance it in Athens. Do you have anybody who can help me finance one of my properties in Florida that's free and clear?" The team leader goes, "Yeah, I think I got him right here." I actually got a loan.
That's right.
So now I can tell you that I went there with the intention of a write-off, but I walked out with a write-off.
Yeah, bud.
That is awesome, man.
And that's Ted Learakos for you guys. So,
What a man. He's a man.
dude, Ted's been in the business for, longer than I've been alive. And
1980.
Wow, dude, longer.
he had a mullet back then.
That's
I had a
awesome.
moment.
Yep.
And so you have to go back and watch the episode. It's like our third episode.
Yeah,
it's been about a year now.
It was so much fun.
And so since then, again, we've been able to blow up. We've got a lot more people on, and I'm glad to have you back here because what we're doing now, it's a little bit different. We're going to start having episodes where we're bringing people on, like the Conan O'Brien show, right? You are on here, and we were just talking about how it's so hard for buyers to get a house with interest rates high. We're talking about buyers' agents losing their commission, and now somebody's got to pay the buyer's agent.
Somebody's got to pay him if this doesn't work out.
That being said, Ryan said something about the bonds. We don't know anything about when we're talking about what's happening with the future. Ted, where do you see rates going?
Okay, I see rates, unfortunately, continuing to stay at the level that they're at. We're going to enter a bit of a nuclear winter relative to, it's always a darker time during the holidays relative to property selling. Well, this is going to be that worse because rates are high. But let me share with you, 4 times in my career have I seen a time like this, and coming out of all 4 times, boom, explodes. It's going to be dramatic. Stay tuned. Work hard. When the fireman sees a building on fire, he doesn't run away. He runs into it. That's my advice.
Oh, I love
Loan
it.
officers, realtors, run into the burning building. And be careful because there's a lot of realtors and loan officers running out of the burning building. Mm-hmm. Don't get run over, but run in because when that market turns, you are going to be the beneficiaries. I'm going to be the beneficiary. I tend to be around a little bit longer. I want to see one more rebound, and it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
When is the $6 million question? A lot of geopolitical events throughout the world that are really kind of making it difficult to predict. But here's what I do predict. For every bad thing that happens relative to our real estate market and the guidelines and the rules, there's going to be some good thing that comes out of it. Give you an example. You want an example?
Yes.
Yes, please. We love your examples.
Okay. So as an example, you guys mentioned it. The feds want buyers to pay the buyer's realtor commission. It's already hard enough for a buyer to buy a friggin' house.
Yeah, they could barely buy the couch for the house.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I have so many parents and grandparents going on mortgage loans because they don't qualify. So now you're going to ask the grandparent or the parent to now pay the realtor. That's crazy. It'll never in my humble opinion, never stand the test of time or the light of day. So what comes out of something like that that's good? FHA, very quietly, just decided that they're going to let people buy fourplex, triplex, duplex with 5% down.
Wow.
2 weeks ago, 25% down.
Whoa.
Now 5% down.
Whoa.
So think about this. You got a client who doesn't qualify for an $800,000 house. They might qualify for $1.2 million triplex, because the two property units that they don't live in, 75% of the appraiser's opinion of the rent is income.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
buddy.
So there's a fall forward.
Yep.
So it's not all bad news.
Oh, start marketing in South Central. I was driving through South Central yesterday, and there are so many duplexes and
Thank you.
triplexes, and
Yes.
so much of them. They're all down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a gold mine if this is what the FHA is doing.
And here's the reason I think that they're doing that is because they're tired of institutional investors buying up these properties, turning these areas into rentals. They're trying to get your client, my client, to be able to buy owner-occupied. Better to have a fourplex with an owner-occupant living in one and non-owners in three than non-owners in all four.
Oh,
Of course,
man.
exactly.
Okay.
So
I have a question for you, Ted. When we hear the bond market, our eyes glaze over because we have no idea what that is. So, like, just pretend we're in Wrigleyville and we're in a bar and it's really loud. Can you tell us what the bond market is?
yeah, basically when a lender lends your client money for 30 years, they're not taking the hit for 30 years. They securitize it as mortgage-backed securities.
Okay.
And the bond market is where those are sold.
Okay.
So when bond yields go up, obviously mortgage rates follow. And there's an apprehension about the future of the bond market. And because of that apprehension, it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Oh, I bet.
But it'll get better.
Oh, okay.
Guaranteed. It always does.
Yeah.
You know? So people who are taking mortgage loans now, who have the grandparents and the parents co-signing, my message to them is buy the house. Suck it up, make the payment. And then when the good time comes, we go in there and we refinance you because obviously you will have proved you could make the payment. Secondly, whatever your FICO scores are, they're higher now. And third, and most important, we're not going to do that till the rates go down. And then that way we can get rid of mom and dad or the grandparents who co-signed to help you buy the property.
Versus waiting till the rates go down, and then what happens? Every single house, that same house you were looking at that was 7, 8, 900,000, it's gone up to 1.2, 1.3.
Diego, you hit it right on the head. Because I didn't mention that, but you hit it right on the head. Waiting is not good. Like I said, it's not just for realtors and loan officers. Buyers should be running into the burning building.
Yep.
Because every time the market does this, it recovers. It's just a matter of when. And
Hopefully
I'm
when
not
soon.
Nostradamus, and I don't know what time it's going to change, but it will change for the better.
We hope so. And do you have any advice on how we can possibly get baby boomers to move? Because we think that that's part of the reason why inventory is so low is that baby boomers just aren't moving. And in a way, why should they, right? If they love the home, they love the interest rate. What's a way to get them out of their house if there is one?
Well, here's what I always look at is, say, for example, you're in a condo, or you just had a newborn.
Yeah.
You're in a property that was perfect before the baby came.
Mm-hmm.
Now the baby's here.
Yep.
Your inclination might be to move, but yet you're holding on to that 2.5% interest rate like it's the holy grail. The bottom line is there's two approaches. One approach is you get somebody who's in that same situation. You pool your money, you buy a property.
Get a duplex.
Thank you. Yes. And I think one of the biggest fallacies that people make is that when they're holding a really low interest rate, that they should hold that property because that rate's lower. Everything's relative. You see all the strikes. Salaries are going up and interest rates are going up. So everything is point in time. When they bought that property, 2.5 was the rate. Fantastic. But the bottom line is, do you really want 3 kids in a 2-bedroom condo just to hold on to the interest rate? I don't think that's good for the family. I think what's good for the family is make the move. Don't worry about the rate you just left. My first house was like, well, it was a horrible rate. But the point is, when I got a better rate, I had that thought. Maybe I hold this house because I don't want to lose that rate. But then I decided when I looked at the two little kids that I didn't have when I bought the house, I don't want to do that. I got to move. And I moved. And I don't look back.
Now,
worked out.
Let's play devil's advocate.
Okay.
It's easy for them to go, yeah, Ted, but I don't want to go in with somebody and then, God forbid, we're not seeing eye to eye. Now I'm stuck in a freaking property with them. And again, going from one property to a larger property, now we're talking about it's like way more expensive. And the interest rate's like more than double my payment. I can't afford a $7,000 payment. Like, what would you say to them?
Well, I'll give you an actual example. 5 flight attendants. I did this, but it's 5. 5 flight attendants. And I haven't even had anything to drink. 5 flight attendants, all of them had one thing in common. They either had little condos or they didn't own property. And a very sharp realtor right near in Westchester, right near the airport, LAX, convinced these 5, because they're never in LA at the exact same time, no more than 2 of them at the exact same time, convinced them to buy a $1.8 million 5-bedroom house in LA.
That's smart.
That's so awesome.
So the bottom line is they worried about that. So my suggestion and the realtor's suggestion was create a contract amongst the 5 of you. You going to get married? You want to tap out? You got to find somebody to take your place. Mm-hmm. It's in writing. It's in a contract between the 5 of them. And right now, 4 of them are there. One of them got married and moved and found a replacement. So as long as you have, all the rules of engagement in writing before you actually pull the trigger on the contract, it usually does work out. It always works out better than not buying a property.
In all of the real estate memes and entrepreneurial videos, that is the first time I've actually heard something that genuinely makes sense.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And now you shouldn't have any more of those.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Totally makes sense.
If I'm starting to make sense, you're done.
Yeah, buddy.
Cherry only.
Okay, so let's say that they do want to downsize. These older folks really do want to downsize. Maybe they want to move closer to grandkids, right? How do they do it? Let's say they don't have an income. They don't have a pension. What are their options?
There's asset depletion loans, which is what I've been using most of, where you show their assets, and then if they can take those assets and show that they won't run out of assets by making the payment from those assets for 120 months, loan approved. They can have no income. The asset depletion loan requires no income. And a lot of these empty nesters, a lot of my first clients, that's I notice because I'm old. So a lot of my first clients are like, hey, Ted, we're going to move. But the bottom line is I don't want to downsize because I don't know if I'm going to qualify for the next place. So, I don't want to pay cash because I want to keep some of my money. And so the answer is usually asset depletion, because most of these people have the assets to be able to cover the payment for 120 months. Doesn't mean they use it, because a lot of them, they have other income that perhaps doesn't show up in the tax returns, which is the reason we do asset depletion. When they get to a certain age, usually 72, problem solved, because all the money that they have been putting away into 401k, defined benefits, retirement, IRAs, they have to take the required distribution. So we tell them, okay, your required distribution, not quite enough to qualify for this loan. So you call your financial planner, tell them to up it, and then you qualify.
No.
And then they say, well, what? I don't want to get more. Well, then tell them to drop it after you buy the house. As soon as Diego puts the key to the house in your hand, you call your financial planner, say, change my mind, drop it.
So before, I'm sure our client's eyes glazed over because that was intense as far as information. Were you talking about a reverse mortgage or what is it that specifically you're talking about?
Reverse mortgage is basically if they never want to have a payment. I'm talking about they're okay with the payment, but they don't qualify because they're retired. Mm-hmm. So asset depletion is a traditional loan. You can even get a 30-year fixed on an asset depletion loan. Reverse is a whole different animal. That's if they don't want a payment, which that's a good one too. And an interesting thing about a reverse that a lot of people don't know is that doesn't mean you don't make a payment. Just means you don't have to make a payment.
That's cool.
It's an FHA loan. There's
Yeah.
no prepayment penalty. You want to make a payment? Make a payment. I got a 96-year-old colonel making a payment every month. I wouldn't do it if I was 96. I ain't going to get the 96. But the point is, if I ever get there, I'm not going to pay a payment. But he's a proud guy. Doesn't want his equity to be depleted. He's got a lot of grandkids. He wants them to get the equity. So,
All right. So anything that you think would help you or us as a whole get one client?
And you're welcome to pitch another program you've got.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
If there's something.
well, look, first-time buyer programs are going to hit in January. You heard of the Dream for All program that lasted 11 days?
If that.
Is that ever coming back?
Yeah, January. It'll last 11 more days. So have your buyers ready to go. It's going to be 11 days of magic in January.
You hear that? Be ready. If you were asking about it last year, get ready now. So that way, when we find the house, we put it in and we don't get locked out like everyone else.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And I think there's other first-time buyer programs that the feds are going to cook up because they obviously recognize that as loan officers and real estate agents, we're scuffling a bit. There isn't, it's not like the fruit's falling out of the tree. You got to climb all the way to the top and try not to fall out of the tree while you're getting clients. But I would say the first-time buyer programs are going to be really important in January because you're going to want to beat the rush of the spring buying season. Even though inventory is low, people have to sell houses for a litany of reasons. So you just want to have buyers ready to go. Don't let them be discouraged by what they see on the news, what they read on the internet. It's kind of discouraging. It would make a buyer say, this is just too...
I'm going to wait for the market to cool down.
No, now. Run into the burning building now because you have less competition and you set the table. You guys are fantastic at being able to work a room, hence the views on this amazing show.
Yeah.
So that is the message to the people who watch your show. Be like you. Mm-hmm. If I was your age, I'd want to be like you. Mm-hmm. I'd want to embrace social media. I'd want to have fun doing it by having a drink. Wait, one thing.
Yeah, go for it. Oh, yeah.
Gotta
put that out there.
Al just turned on the air conditioner, so I've got to give him a shout out.
I got to
here.
shout out to Al. That's a good segue. So we are here in Al's garage here at the United American Mortgage Event Center. Yeah. We call it Al's Man Cave. We got a Ferrari. We got a Porsche back here. We're styling.
You know what we don't have?
What's that?
Any of the keys. So Al, if you're watching, we can improve on that, right?
Let's get some keys out.
I promise I won't drive them. He won't let me drive them because these cars are meant to go really fast, and I seldom go above.
And we've been drinking.
Yeah. All right. Second thought, Al. Hang on to the keys.
Yeah.
So here's a rule. So just 5 days ago, war broke out in Israel between Israel and Hamas. Do you see this war having any effect on our local real estate market?
Yes. I'm sad to say history has a habit of repeating itself, and this is politically incorrect, but it's the fact. War is good for interest rates. Oh. It's a flight to safety. People throughout the world, it's like, oh my God, U.S. dollar, U.S. real estate. That's the safe haven. So that's going to trickle down to here. And I was recently in Greece, and I can sense that there's a very real uneasiness, mostly because Ukraine, because it hadn't happened in Gaza City yet. But it's happening now. It's going to have an unintended consequence of positive for interest rates and positive for property values in the United States. So it's not for a good reason, and I hope and I pray that it doesn't escalate, but it's not going to throw gasoline on this fire of real estate market. It's actually going to create a little bit of a respite.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
So we will see something positive might come out of it in terms of our neck of the woods, despite how sad things are going on over there.
Yeah. Globally, real estate, U.S. real estate, and the dollar becomes a safe haven. So there you go.
Wow. Own that U.S. dollar and own that house in the U.S.
Yes.
That's another reason right
You're
there.
welcome.
To invest in real estate.
Yeah.
Because as we know, as we talked about before, you buy a stock share, that stock share could be zero and you've got no piece of paper with it.
Sure.
Your house could drop to zero, but you still have a house.
I have a very good client, put a ton of money into FTX and basically told me, Ted, man, you are missing the boat. Well, that's a boat I'm glad I missed. It sank.
Yeah, buddy.
FTX, that is down there with the Titanic, my friend. That is bad news.
Yeah, there's no submarine down there looking for it either.
No, I remember us talking 2 or 3 years ago. Are you buying Bitcoin? No. Thank God we didn't.
Yeah.
At least at the time we were thinking of doing it.
We had clients that were going to use Bitcoin, and
Yes.
now they got no money.
Well, and there were lenders that were accepting Bitcoin, and that evaporated rather quickly with Mr. Bankman-Fried imploding.
He really did screw it up for him.
Look,
Yeah.
here's the bottom line. I know I'm old, and it's going to sound like an old adage, but you put $1 on a table, and you put a euro, and you put a peso, and you put a Canadian dollar, and you put a Japanese currency, a ruble, put them all on the table, and ask anyone in the world, you can pick up one. Pick up the dollar.
Oh, they're picking up that dollar,
Picking
man.
up the dollar.
like a stripper.
Yep.
I'm
There
picking it up.
might be glitter on the dollar, but they're picking it up.
Might smell good,
Tuesdays at 2, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, God, you remembered that.
Yeah,
huh?
buddy.
man. Flash-
Well, Ted, we really thank you. I'm so glad this was an awesome just stroke of luck that we got that you came on today. We had it intended that it was going to be a solo episode, and the second we heard you were coming, we're like, we have to have him on.
Got to get him on.
Because you guys, you got to think about it. This is information that we're pushing to you for you. This is for realtors, by realtors, and not just realtors, but everybody that could stand to buy a house or sell a house. We are putting up our own money to educate you guys. Like, really take this information to heart. We're doing it for you. It's not for us.
That's right.
I want to give you one parting tip that just occurred. In the old days, like 4 weeks ago, in order for somebody to buy a house who was in the middle of a divorce, they had to use any debt that appeared on their credit report. That has changed.
Ooh.
Now, if two people are getting a divorce and one of them is holding a document from the court, because a lot of family law lawyers now are actually doing property and asset settlement before the divorce is final. So if it's recorded that the spouse gets the house, then the spouse that doesn't get the house doesn't have to overcome the debt of that mortgage.
Wow. Okay.
That's a game changer.
Oh, yeah.
That's
And
big
this is
game changer.
this is something to show and reach out to family law lawyers, because a lot of family law lawyers, they don't even know this yet. Just happened.
Oh, wow.
So the point is that if you have a divorcing couple and one of them is going to get the house and the court has ordered that she or he gets the house, then the other one doesn't have to use that debt.
Wow.
Wow.
And when you remember when you boys were in Detroit, United Wholesale
Yep.
Mortgage?
Yes.
They're the first.
Wow.
They just approved
Whoa.
loans using that.
Oh, man.
So up until that rule change, the divorce had to be final. We all know, as realtors and loan officers, we're all been taught, tell the client, yeah, come back when you got the divorce decree. You don't have to do that anymore.
Wonderful.
That's awesome,
Dude,
man.
that's a game changer.
That's a game
Thanks for having
changer.
me.
I don't know if I want to show that to anybody. We're gonna have to use that. We're gonna pull an Eric Kaiser and just keep our mouth shut.
Yeah.
And not tell anybody.
Shout
that's
out Eric. Shout out Matt Ishbia for that one.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
buddy.
Yeah, man.
There you go.
Yeah,
Right on.
absolutely. And also, thank you for sending us to Detroit, man. That was incredible. We got to go to Detroit with his team to the United Wholesale Mortgage Event Center.
Dude, that looked
was
like
awesome.
a college campus.
Yes.
I mean, that was an amazing, and again, thanks to you to shipping us out there. We just got to live like kings, and they treated us like so.
Well, I look forward to the day where you can go back there and interview him and do a not boring for real estate.
Oh, and for sure, we're
podcast
shouting
there.
out Ted and UAMC. Thanks again.
Oh, we're doing it, man.
Thank you, boys.
Thanks, Ted, for
All right.
having us on,
All right.
buddy.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Ted.
Thank you.
We appreciate it, brother.
All right.
Thank you all, everybody, for watching. Have a good night. Wow, Wayne, looks like we're going to be raffling it off to celebrate our 1-year anniversary.
Totally, Garth. I mean, why wouldn't we? We're just over here celebrating the fact that we've been doing this for over a year.
Wow. Swing.
Shoo-wing. So, you guys, we're super thankful for everybody doing this. We definitely want to grow our fan base. If there's someone that you think should watch this, all we need you to do in order to get into the raffle to win these awesome AirPods Pro is to share this with a friend. Make sure you tag them in the comments below, and make sure you're following us so that way we can reach out to you and let you know if you've won these AirPods Pro.
That's right, because if you're going to slide into some DMs, send them our episodes. That'll get you going. Thanks, everybody, for watching the episode today. That was fun having Ted on.
This was awesome. I had a really good time with the episode. These wigs are so hot.
They are hot, so we had to take them off like 15 seconds into the episode.
But we did this for you guys.
That's right.
And so I really hope that you understand that when we ask you to watch this, it's only to benefit you, your families, and anybody that could possibly watch something like this.
That's right. So if you're trying to hit on somebody on Instagram and you're sliding in the DMs, send them the episode.
Speaking of hitting on someone, we had someone specifically say that they wanted to hear about your Bumble dates.
Oh.
So, Ryan, please tell us about your most recent Bumble date, my friend.
Oh, my most recent Bumble date. Well, that one's going well. It's still kind of going. But the Bumble dates that was recently pretty bad was I think she was eating spaghetti, and she was like, how do you feel about biting? And I was like, biting? Like play bites? Like you mean like her in the bedroom? And she was like, no, like I mean like biting and like making you bleed.
I thought you meant like Joe Biden.
No, Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Oh, how do you feel like about Biden? That would be an easier
Different
conversation. But biting and drawing blood. And I was like, yeah, I'm not really into that.
I'll pass, bro.
Yeah, I'll pass. So that was a weird one. And then another weird Bumble date was, I don't know what she was drinking. No, I think we both had old fashions. And she was like, yeah, if I don't have a boyfriend that I'm going to have a baby with in a couple months, I might just get in vitro and just, get a donor. And
hey, you want to get me pregnant tonight?
in 3 months? Yeah, that's a little quick.
It's a little I mean,
A little quick. To just be like, hey, this date goes well. We're going to have babies in 3 months, right?
Extreme close-up. Whoa!
and shout out again to UAMC for having us over. These guys always show us a good time. I mean, the place was set up perfectly for our Halloween episode.
That's right. Al's Man Cave is the best place to have a podcast. I'll tell you that. You got Ferraris, you got Porsches, you got all kinds of stuff. You got that chick from The Exorcist over there. I mean, good Lord, man. This was a fun episode to do here.
Oh, yeah. We love you guys. Thanks again. And make sure you like, follow, subscribe, and all that stuff that they tell you to do.
You're right. It is awesome that we could be here with United American Mortgage and their event center. We got Ferraris here. We got a Porsche. We got a GTO. We got that chick from The Exorcist over there looking extra creepy. This was awesome. Thank you, Al. Thank you, Ted, David, Laura, for having us here at United American Mortgage. Because what show is this?
Wayne's World, party time, excellent.